My girlfriend hit a mall trip with her ex and lied about where she was for hours. Is it even worth to start rebuilding trust from here, if that's even possible? Throwaway for obvious reasons. Long post, sorry, but I want honest opinion. My girlfriend and I started talking about 4 months ago. Early on, before we were even officially dating, she was still texting her ex without telling me, which I only found out about by accident when she screen shared something. Her explanation was that they were friends before dating. They dated for about 6 months, and they broke up 3 months before we started talking. Told her I wasn't okay with that. She apologized, said she wanted things to work with me, and blocked him. I decided to give her another chance. About a month later, we made it official. We met in uni, and I've since graduated and moved for work, so we've been doing long distance, more than a 6-hour flight apart. She's still got at least 2 more years left in school, so that's the reality going forward. Fast forward to 2 nights ago, a friend of mine texted and called me saying he saw her standing outside her ex's car, laughing with him. I checked her location and it showed she was at a mall. I called her multiple times, no answer. I texted her that something extremely urgent had come up and I needed to talk to her. I called and texted repeatedly between 9 p.m. and 12:30 a.m. Nothing. Her location showed her near a park for hours during that window, and she ended up going home at 4 a.m. The next morning at 10 a.m. she finally texted, apologizing for not answering. Her explanation was that she'd been driving with a friend when their tire blew out, leaving them stranded dealing with that for hours. She said she was fine now and asked what was going on. I said I'd been so worried and asked where she went. She didn't respond to this text for over an hour. I FaceTimed her, and she said she was with coworkers now. I said I just needed a minute of her time. It was very important. She didn't respond for 4 hours, then finally replied asking why I couldn't just explain over text instead. I told her no and asked if we could call in 20 to 25 minutes. She pushed back, saying either I tell her what it's about right then or she was done with me. I asked why she couldn't just call, and she said she was with people and asked if I could send a voice message instead. I asked again, said it would only take a minute. She went quiet for 20 minutes. I finally told her I didn't understand why she was dodging my calls after I'd told her I had a personal emergency the night before and that we were done. She responded saying she thought I was overreacting and being unreasonable. Pointed out she'd told me to just text her if it was something quick, and said she'd been thinking about fights we'd had recently and wasn't sure it was going to work out anyway. At that point, I texted her I knew who she'd been with the night before. She didn't respond for over 2 hours, then replied asking what I meant. I told her she could keep denying it, but I already knew, and at this point it was really just about whether she could be honest with me. She called an hour later. She opened by saying she figured my friend must have told me she was with her ex, then said what actually happened was she'd run into him on the street and only spent about an hour catching up with him, then went to the mall separately with a female friend, which is when the tire blew. I asked why she couldn't have just called me back for even a minute during any of that. She said she didn't want to take the call in public in case my emergency was something serious. I pointed out she could have just stepped outside for a moment and that I told her it was going to be quick. After probing her for another 2 hours and asking over and over, she finally admitted she'd actually gone to the mall with her ex, not just run into him on the street. Her reasoning for hiding it was that she didn't want me to think that bringing up our recent arguments were caused by her seeing him. Before she admitted it, her tone was combative and dismissive, accusing me of overreacting and giving ultimatums about texting versus calling. Once she admitted it, she got emotional and much more timid. One more relevant detail. In the past, I told her directly that I consider hanging out with an ex to be cheating, and she agreed with me at the time. When this came out, she tried to walk that back, claiming she hadn't felt that way before we met, despite this happening while we were already exclusive dating. We ended up leaving that FaceTime call saying we'd both think things over, partly because of the long distance and how complicated it would be to just walk away given her still being in school and the distance between us.